Here Putin is today. So he met with the chairman of what's called the Russian Constitutional Court. And this man pulls out a map from the 17th century to show Putin and to make a very specific point about Ukraine. Just listen to it for yourself.
We found a copy of a map from the 17th century, created during the time of Louis XIV. In the middle of the 17th, in the second half of the 17th century, created by the French themselves. Why did I bring it? Vladimir Vladimirovich, it has no Ukraine.
Of course, Soviet rule created Soviet Ukraine. It is a well-known fact. No Ukraine existed in the history of humankind until then.
Well, you go back to the time of Louis XIV, of course, gosh, you can go further and see Kyiv was the founder of Moscow. You get the point. That's the absurdity that Putin was wanted today. Fred Plekin and Matthew Chance are both standing by with new reporting on Outfront. I want to begin first, though, with you in Kyiv, Fred, because you're hearing about a new explosion in Belgorod tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Erin. And while Vladimir Putin seems to indicate there used to be no Ukraine, certainly right now the Russians seem to be feeling the heat, at least it appears, from Ukraine. In fact, right now, just a couple of minutes ago, the governor of that Belgorod region, who you were talking about, who was criticizing the Russian military, he said that there had been another possible strike by a drone in the Belgorod region, and that some sort of munition was dropped on a roadway and damaged a car there. Of course, that's something that we've seen several times over the past couple of days, also in light of those incursions that have been happening. And despite the fact that, as Matthew's been reporting and we've been reporting, those are Russians who are going into Ukrainian territory. So it's Russians against Russians. The Russian government, in the form of Dmitry Peskov, the spokesman for Vladimir Putin, is trying to pin this on the Ukrainians. He says today that he believes this all shows that Russia is under attack from Ukraine and that therefore Russia's war against Ukraine is justified. Now, I also asked the National Security Advisor of Ukraine whether or not the Ukrainians are afraid that there could be massive retaliation from the Russians after this, perhaps another massive missile strike. And he said, look, the Russians are already striking us almost every day. They've hit us with more than 1,400 missiles already. What else is going to come? And at the same time, of course, Erin, the Ukrainians are also preparing for that big counter-offensive. And I asked him where that stands. Here's what he had to say.
We are clearly aware of when, where, how, and what should start. The final decision is up to the president and the security staff. When the decision is made, Russia will definitely feel it.
And of course, one of the things that we also had to talk about, Erin, and this is very important in that context, is the situation in Bakhmut, where the Russians, of course, had said they took the entire city. National Security Advisor also telling me that that is not true, that the Ukrainians still have troops in the city. He also said that the fact that the Ukrainians are still holding out in Bakhmut and trying to strike back is also a key factor in the Ukrainians being able to prepare for that counteroffensive that, of course, could happen at any time, Erin.
All right. Thank you very much, Fred in Kyiv.